Hi everybody, Lori here from Lori Book Trials, in case you're new to my channel. Hi. And today I'm going to do a review of The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides, something like that. This is a case you didn't know. It's about this lady that's supposed to have like this perfect marriage basically, and they get a call from somebody that there was shots fired at the house, and when they get there they find her by her husband's body and she won't talk. So basically she gets put into a psychiatric hospital, and the doctor is he's trying to find out why she isn't talking. This book, you guys, has a lot of twists and turns. I started it yesterday morning and finished it later in the evening. Yeah. I'm still debating. I think I'm going to give it 5 stars, but I'm still debating between that or a 4.5. I mean, it took me a day to read it, and I kept wanting to read it, so it was definitely worth at least a 4.5. There was a couple little things I didn't like. I just can't exactly pinpoint what they are, but there was just certain things I didn't like about the book. But I kind of guessed part of what was going on, but I didn't guess it all. I kind of like had something in the back of my mind, and I was like, okay, maybe this is what happened, but I don't know how it would have happened. So, yeah. And then when everything was explained at the end, it was definitely, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I understand it. But I don't know. It just took me a while to understand it. Like, when I first read it, I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? I'm lost. How was that possible? And then I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it took me a few minutes to get there. It's nothing really the book's fault. It was mine for that part. But there was just something that's telling me that it might not be a 5-star, but that ending made me feel like it should be a 5-star. So I think if, for the sake of like, Goodreads, I would give it a 5. Like if I did a review, I don't really review on Goodreads. I do every great once in a while, but not too much. But if I did on Goodreads, I would give it a 5-star just because of the ending and because you can't give half stars. But I think I'm going to still give it a 5, even though I'm not really sure if it quite is a 5, if that makes any sense. But it was just such interesting. Like, I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? And I'll talk about that in the spoilery section. But yeah, it was very interesting what was going on. I'll just say there was a lot of kind of like, I don't know how you call it, what you would call that, but a lot of twists and turns, a lot of, I'm trying to think of what that word is that I'm trying to think of, like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it was like, okay, ooh, that happened, and then there was another little twist, you know what I mean? There was a lot of twists and turns, is that what it's called? Yeah, twists and turns in the book. And yeah, it was one of those books where you really don't like anybody, and you don't know who to trust, like even the psychiatrist and the people around him and the people around the girl. So it was just really like all like confusing in a certain sense in that regard, but not confusing, but I mean a lot of it was one of those books where you really don't like any of the characters that much, but you're so invested to find out, like, what the heck is going on with the characters, even though you're not invested in them. Because you guys know me. Usually I'm the type of person, if I don't like at least one character in the book, I don't like the book. Or I won't read the book. Because usually that's how I am. Or it'll be it'll be like a 2.5, 3 stars. Kind of like, priority Priority of the Orange Tree, how I was with that, because I didn't really like any of the characters besides the one. So yeah, but at least they were, you know, they weren't bad, those people, you know what I mean? Like, or I shouldn't say bad, but it wasn't like I didn't trust them. Where like in this book, it's a mine F. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get, you know, penalized or anything, or whatever you want to call it from Instagram. But yeah, it was very, very. It's probably going to be, even though it ain't a 6-star, it might still be on my favorites of the year. At least like in suspense, because this is like my favorite thriller or suspense or whatever you want to consider this one. Psychological suspense or I don't know what you would call it. But anyways, it was definitely would be a good book if you want to read something for Mental Health Month, because there's a lot of like people in here that, you know, have things wrong with them, and there's yeah, there's like what's it called, like there's abuse in this book, even though I'll go into spoilers about that, but they talk about like their like how they were raised and things like that and stuff like that. So yeah, but I don't know what else to say for the non-spoilery review. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then bye. I'll talk to you guys all later, and comment down below if you plan on reading it, if you haven't read it yet. And yeah, and bye. Talk to you guys all next time. Okay, now people that are here for the spoilers. Okay, so like I was saying, the doctor, his name is, no, I forgot his name. Theo. So he does all these different things to get on this girl's case, because he just wants to, you know, be on her case. And you're like, okay, what the heck is going on? Why does he want to be her psychiatrist or whatever you want to call it so bad? Her name, of course, is Alicia. And yeah, it's really, really weird. And you hear a lot of his backstory. He says that he was abused by his dad and all this stuff, and his mom, you know, just stayed there and didn't do anything, you know what I mean? And he said he tried killing himself before and things like that. At first, I kind of was like, oh, I like him. But then he started getting weirder and weirder as the story went on. Like, he would, he's married, so he was he found out that his wife was cheating on him, so he would follow them around, and I'll tell you who that person was in a minute, that his wife was cheating with him on, whatever you want to say. But, and then we got Alicia, who, like I said, she won't talk. She won't tell you why she killed her husband. Or did she kill her husband? Or did somebody else kill him? Because they have his brother, Max, his guy that works that's the owner, I think, of the paint thing. What do you want to call it? The boutique or whatever you want to call it. You know, that she works for because she paints. I forget what they call those things. But anyways, he's the owner of the gallery, I guess you can say. I think that's what it is, the gallery. And then there's her, I can't remember, stepbrother? I don't know if that's her stepbrother or I forget. And I forgot what his name was. His name was, it'll be towards the end. Let me see if I can find the guy's name. Then I'm going to read to you what happened in the ending. Like, how everything was explained. And I can't remember the guy's name, but Paul? Yeah, Paul. You couldn't know. He was kind of like suspicious too. Like, you had all these characters, like everybody was like really, what you call it. But back to the psychiatrist. He, like I was saying, was following around his wife to find out who she was cheating on, who she was messing around with. And he would like think about killing the guy, like taking a rock and like, smashing him in the head. And it was confusing because you didn't know if it was the part where he was like chasing the guy. I mean, where he was stalking the wife and the guy. You couldn't tell like if that was the past or the present. So that was kind of jarring because I couldn't figure out. And it was meant to be that way. I'll tell you why it was meant to be that way in a minute. But, yeah. But you didn't know who to trust. Even there was this Christian guy. Kristen, I think his name was. Christian, I think. Which was another doctor. You couldn't trust him. I mean, it was just all this crazy stuff going on. Like, nobody was trustable. Trustable? How do you say that word? Like I said, not even the psychiatrist. So, she finally starts talking. Oh, I forgot to mention the main part. She had a diary. Yeah. And she wound up talking and she gave him the diary. There was a reason why she gave that diary. But the diary is what kind of screwed everything up. So what happened was, you find out that the psychiatrist, Theo, his wife was sleeping with Alicia's husband. He was the one that they were sleeping together, you know. So yeah, that's how everything falls into place. So when he was doing all the stalking and stuff, following her around and stuff, it was the past. So you come to find out that Theo is the one that tied up the guy. I forget what the guy's name is. The husband? Gabriel? Yeah. He's the one that tied him up. But he didn't kill him. He was going to kill him. He didn't, though. But you come to find out that she recognized that he was the one that did it all. You know, tied him up and stuff like that. Which is really weird. But you also find out that she's the one that killed her husband. So after Theo left, she went boop and killed her husband. This is what she says. Let me find the part, because I don't think I put a thing on it. Let's see. But see, what tipped him off is because she was saying, oh, I don't know what the guy looked like that did it and stuff like that. But he was the guy, so he knew that she knew what he looked like and stuff like that. And then she only gave him, he didn't know that she wrote down a note in a separate part of a diary with the real truth. See, so what happened was he wanted to get rid of her, so he winds up like drugging her. I mean, giving her some kind of thing to put her in a coma. And yeah. And before she slipped into the coma, she was able to write the whole real truth, and she hid it somewhere. So and then let me find that part that I was talking about. But anyways, also Theo was trying to frame Christian, because Christian, we found out, was a friend of Gabriel, and he was the psychiatrist first for Alicia. So yeah, very weird. But here's her chapter. What she says in her diary. She said, Theo just left. I'm alone. I'm writing this as fast as I can. I haven't gotten much time. I've got to get this down while I still have the strength. I thought it was crazy at first. It was easier to think I was crazy than believe it was true, but I'm not crazy. I'm not. The first time I met him in the therapy room, I wasn't sure. There was something familiar about him, but different. I recognized his eyes, not just the coloring, but the shape, and the same smell of cigarettes and smoky aftershave, and the way he formed words and the rhyme of his speech, but not the tone of his voice. It seemed different somehow, so I wasn't sure. But the next time we met, he gave himself away. He said the same words, the exact same phrase he used at the house, burned into my memory. I want to help you. I want to help you see clearly. So his whole thing was he never wanted to kill Gabrielle. He just wanted to get her to realize that, that she didn't need to be with him, basically. And to show her that he was no good, basically. Then she talks about how she was hoping she wanted to kill him and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like... And then she thought at first she was imagining it. How could it be Theo? What purpose could he have had come in here to taunt me like this? And then I understand, and all the bullshit about wanting to help me. That was the sickest part of all. He was getting a kick out of it, and he was getting off on it. That's why he was here. He had come back to gloat. She said... And then she goes back to, I want to help you. I want to help you see clearly. And then she says, well, now I saw clearly. I know him. I want him to know that I knew. So I lied about the way Gabriel died. As I was talking, I could see he knew I was lying. We looked at each other and saw it, and I had recognized him. And there was something in his eyes I've never seen before. Fear. He was afraid of me, of what I might say. He was scared, the sound of my voice. And then said, that's when he came back a few minutes ago. He didn't say anything this time, no more words. He grabbed my wrist and stuck a needle into my vein. I didn't struggle. I didn't fight back. I let him do it. I deserved it. I deserve this punishment. I am guilty. But so is he. That's why I'm writing this, so he won't get away with it. So he will be punished. I got to be quick. I got to feel it now. I can feel it now. The stuff he injected me with is working. I'm so drowsy. I want to lie down. I want to sleep. But no, not yet. I've got to stay awake. I've got to finish the story, and this time I'll tell the truth. That night, the night Theo broke into the house and tied me up, and when Gabriel came home, Theo knocked him out. At first I thought he killed him, but then I saw Gabriel was breathing. Theo pulled him up and tied him to the chair. He moved it so Gabriel and I were sitting back to back, and I couldn't see his face. Please, I said, please don't hurt him. I'm begging you. I'll do anything you want. Oh, and also there's this story, I think it was. I can't remember the name of the story. But in this story, it was about this lady that she had a choice. Either her husband would die, or she could take his place and die instead. And she wound up dying for him. So I just want to get that out because of this all ties into why she killed her husband. I think it was called Thesis or something like that. The name of I don't know if it's a play or a pitch or a movie. I'm not sure. But anyways, I just know that it's what I was telling you about how the lady took her husband's place and died for him. So. But then she begged him and stuff like that, and she said, Theo laughed. I've come to hate his laugh so much. It was cold, empty, heartless. Hurt him? He shook his head. I'm going to kill him. He meant it. I felt such terror. I lost control of my tears. I wept and pleaded. I'll do anything you want, anything. Please, please let him live. He deserves to live. He's the kindest and best of men, and I love him. I love him so much. Tell me, Alicia. Tell me about your love for him. Tell me, do you think he loves you? He loves me, I said. I heard the clock ticking in the background. There seemed to be an age before he replied. We'll see, he said. His black eyes stared at me for a second, and I felt consumed by darkness. I was in the presence of a creature that wasn't even human. He was evil. And then what happens is that he gives Gabriel a choice, just like in what I was just talking about, the play or the movie, whatever it is, or the book, whatever it was. And anyways, he gave him a choice. Either you die or I'm going to kill her, basically. He says, this is what he says this is what Theo says to Gabriel. Hello, Gabriel, he said. Who the F are you? I'm a married man, so I know what it's like to love someone, and I know what it's like to be let down. What the F are you talking about? Only cowards betray the people who love them. Are you a coward, Gabriel? F you. I was going to kill you, but Alicia pleaded for your life, so instead I'm going to give you a choice. Either you would die or Alicia dies. You decide. The way he spoke was cool and calm and in control. No emotion. Gabriel didn't reply for a second. He sounded out of breath, like he'd been punched. Then basically he's like, I don't want to die. So, that's what he said. I don't want to die. And then after he said that, then she's like, there was silence. Everything stopped inside my body. Every cell deflated. Withering cells. Like dead petals falling into the flower. Jasmine flowers floating to the ground. Can I smell jasmine somewhere? Yes. Yes. Sweet jasmine on the windowsill. Perhaps. And then Theo stepped away from Gabriel. He said, you see, Alicia? I knew Gabriel was a coward, effing my wife behind my back. He destroyed the only happiness I've ever had. Theo leaned forward right in my face. I'm sorry to do this, but quite frankly, now you know the truth. You're better off dead. He raised the gun and pointed it at my head. I shut my eyes. I heard Gabriel screaming, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't. A click and then a gunshot so loud that it blew all other sound. There was a silence for a few seconds. I thought I was dead, but I wasn't so lucky. I opened my eyes. Theo was still there, pointing the gun at the ceiling. He smiled. He put his finger on his lips, telling me to keep quiet. Alicia, Gabriel shouted. Alicia! I could hear Gabriel withering in his chair, trying to turn around and see what had happened. What did you do to her, you... I said, where did you effing be? Oh, Jesus. Theo untied my wrist. He dropped the gun to the floor. Then he kissed me ever so gently on the cheek. He walked out, and the front door slammed after him. Gabriel and I was alone. He was sobbing, crying, barely able to form words. He just kept calling my name, wailing. Alicia, Alicia. I remained silent. Alicia, F-F-O-F. I remained silent. Alicia, answer me. Alicia, oh God. I remained silent. How could I talk? Gabriel had sentenced me to death. The deaf don't talk. I untied the wire around my ankles. I got up from the chair. I reached down to the floor. My fingers closed around the gun. It was hot and heavy in my hand. I walked around the chair, and I faced Gabriel. Tears were streaming down his cheeks. His eyes widened. Alicia, you're alive. Thank God you're... I wish I could say that I struck a blow from the defeated, that I was standing up for the betrayal and broken-hearted, that Gabriel had a tyrant eyes, my father's eyes, but I'm past lying now. The truth is Gabriel had my eyes suddenly, and I had his. Somewhere along the way, we had swapped places. I saw that now. I would never be safe, never be loved. All my hopes dashed, all my dreams shattered, leaving nothing. My father was right. I didn't deserve to live. I was nothing. That's what Gabriel did to me. That's the truth. I didn't kill Gabriel. He killed me. All I did was pull the trigger. So, that's why I should kill him. And then, Theo, of course, thinks that he got away with everything because he was, like I said, he framed Christian. But, like I was saying, also, you remember, she did that diary that I just read to you. He couldn't find it, the diary, because he wanted to check and make sure there was nothing that would incriminate him. He couldn't find it. And the cops come to the house. and he gets arrested. So he didn't get away with it, but he thought he was going to get away with it. But the girl hid it somewhere that only, like I think it was, I can't remember exactly. I'll read to you what it said when the cops came. Oh, okay, I know. This is what happens. I'll tell you guys, though, in here. Well, he came, Gene, that guy that I was talking about, that's the owner, or whatever, of the art place. Well, anyways, it said, well, he came to the Grove to collect Alicia's art materials, and we got talking about one thing and another. Interesting man, Mr. Martin. He's planning something of Alicia's work. He seems to think now is a good time to reevaluate her as an artist. Given all the publicity, I dare say he's right. Alan gave me a praising look. You might want to write about her, sir. I'm sure there'll be interest in a book or something like that. I haven't considered it. What exactly has Jean Felix respective, or how you say that, got to do with me, Inspector? Well, Mr. Martin was particularly excited to see the new painting. He didn't seem concerned that Elfa, which is another patient, defaced it. He said it added a special quality to it. I can't remember the exact words he used. I don't know much about art myself, do you? Not really. I wondered how long it was going to take the inspector to get to the point, and why I felt increasingly uneasy. Anyway, Mr. Martin was admiring the picture, and he picked it up to look at it more closely, and there it was. What was this? The inspector pulled out something from inside his jacket. I recognized it at once. The diary. The kettle boiled, and a shriek filled the air. I switched it off and poured some boiling water into the mug. I stirred it and noticed my hand was trembling slightly. Oh, good. I wonder where it was. Wedged in the back of the painting, in the top left corner of the frame. It was jammed in tight. So that's where she hid it, I thought. The back of the painting that I hated, the one place I didn't look. Fascinated, the arrows, the confusion. I nodded. A portrait of disturbed mind. Inspector Alan flicked through the pages to the end. He started reading it from aloud. He was scared of the sound of my voice. He grabbed my wrist and struck a needle in my vein. I felt a sudden rise in panic. I didn't know those words. I hadn't read the entry. It was incriminating evidence I'd been looking for, and it was in the wrong hands. I wanted to snatch the diary from Alan and tear it out the pages, but I couldn't move. I was trapped. I started stammering. I really think it's better if I spoke too nervously, and he heard the fear in my voice. Yes, nothing. I mean, no further attempt to stop him in action I took would be viewed as incriminating anyways. There was no way out, and the strangest thing is I felt relieved. So, yeah. And then she says, I'm curious about hearing it. Will you read it aloud? Very well. I felt strangely calm as I sat in my chair by the window. He cleared his throat and began. Theo just left. I'm alone. I'm writing this as fast as I can. And then you read the rest of it. So, yeah. So like I said, there's a lot of twists and turns when you find out that Christian was the doctor that saw her before Theo, and that Theo was the one that, Gabriel was the one that was cheating on, sleeping with with Theo's wife, and yeah. And he didn't kill the husband, but he wound up, well, I don't know if Alicia, it never really said if she is dead or not. Just said that the last thing it said anything, she was still in the coma. So, who knows if she's still alive. But it was funny that, it was interesting that all the twists and turns, like you thought, okay, he killed the husband, and then you find out that she killed the husband, really? But she blames it on the husband, because she said that the husband killed her. Yeah. First, very strange. But it was very, interesting. It starts out with, the first thing is her diary. I don't know why I'm writing this. That's not true. Maybe I do know, and you don't want to admit it to myself. But I don't want to admit it to myself. I don't even know what to call it, the thing I'm writing. It feels a little pretentious to call it a diary. It's not like I have anything to say. Anna Frank kept a diary. And Frank kept a diary. Not someone like me. Calling it a journal sounds too academic somehow. And I should write in every day and don't want to. It became a chore and never kept up. So it just starts about that. But it seemed like she really loved her husband until that happened. It's just, I don't know. She really looked up to that play or whatever it was. But I'm pretty sure it's Athenis or something. Athenis. I know it started with the A. But yeah. It's just very, very interesting, like, you know. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I think what really, like, started everything with this girl, I think she was always a little crazy, because her mother committed suicide, but she was in the car with her mother. So, yeah. And she thinks that her mother was trying to kill her. So, yeah, it's just... And then her father never really wanted her. He said something to her. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said something like never wanted her or something like that. And she told her cousin, I think that's what I said, isn't it? He was. But anyway, she told him that her dad just killed her because of the words that he said. So I think she just got so crazy from her life that she didn't think anybody loved her, like she was unlovable. And then she thought Gabriel loved her. Well, I'm sure he, in his own sick way, he probably did. I don't know. Who knows? He was cheating on her, so you never know. But anyways, I just think all that kind of screwed her up a little bit. That's what I'm guessing. But Theo, he said that he was being abused by his dad. I don't know. You don't know if you can trust what he's saying because he's not reliable. But she's not very reliable either. So none of them are really reliable. But she was at the end. I know she was telling the truth about killing her husband. And you know that she was telling the truth about Theo being the one that did it. I mean, he even admitted it himself, but you know what I mean. It was very interesting how it's all the twists and turns. So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to keep it at a 5-star. Let me know if you read it, what you thought about it. Did you guess the twist at the end? Because very, very interesting twist. I liked it. I liked how no one was really telling the truth. So yeah, probably going to be like my favorite mystery of the year, but not a 6-star. Or Spence. I don't know what this one's considered. But whatever it's considered, it's probably going to be my favorite. So, yeah. But it's not going to get a 6-star. It's not quite there. But it's like the first one that's that type of a book that is pretty high. Because not all of my ones that are going to be 6 stars are necessarily going to, you know, some of the 5 ones could wind up being still a favorite of the year in certain categories. So, yeah. I'm going to let you guys go. Let me know what you guys think about the book. Yeah, I really thought it was good. And, yeah. But I'm going to let you guys go. If you guys like this video, remember thumbs up, even if you didn't, thumbs down, just so they'll know that you guys are watching the video. If you haven't subscribed, so you think about subscribing. And if you do, remember to hit that bell icon so you'll know whenever a review of mine is up for your viewing pleasure, or unboxing, or whatever else I do. But I'm going to let you guys go, and I will talk to you guys all later. Comment down below if you've read the book. Well, if you stayed for the spoilers, then I'm sure you read the book. Unless you don't want to read the book. And you just want to see what happened in the book. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will talk to you all later. Mwah. Lori out.